Now I'm going to turn this over to our secretary. Chris Brown's going to say some nice things about a very fine gentleman. Chris, can you step up here, please?
First of all, I'd like to welcome our first two inductees into the Hall of Fame here, Al Stewart and Bruce Hale, who came to honor Bobby. We like to, for those of you who don't know Bobby, there's quite a few of us from the South that don't know Bobby that well, we like to go through and read a little bit that we have on Bobby's life. And this is your life, Bobby. Bobby was born in Marmaduke, Arkansas, but when he was 7 years old, someone told his father, "Go west, young man." So they packed up the family and they left. If you've ever seen the movie Grapes of Wrath, Bobby said that depicted his family perfectly. The only difference was, in the movie, the truck made it all the way to California, but the Goldsmiths didn't. It gave up the ghost around about Kingman, Arizona. The family sold all their belongings, put Bobby's little sister Robbie and her mother on a train, and Bobby and his dad hitchhiked from Kingman to Visalia, California. They settled down just 2 miles from the place where Mr. G's is located. Through the years, Bobby has been involved in a wide variety of interests. He's played semi-pro baseball, raised a few horses, raised a whole lot of pigs, did a few rodeo shows as a calf roper, fought a whole lot of roosters, collected old Cadillacs, clocks, and antique guns. In 1964, Bobby bought a bar, the Hut, which had a 17-foot shuffleboard in it. When his customers went down the road to play on a regulation-size shuffleboard, he quickly learned that his wasn't a regulation size. Needless to say, out went a wall, the building got extended, and in went a regulation shuffleboard. Thus began the long story of Bobby's history with shuffleboard. Where did that go? It was a common occurrence for Bobby to set up sessions at the old Hut and later at Mr. G's. Many greats graced the door there where they always knew there would be some action. Just to name a few, Bob Miles, Glenn Davidson, Ron Cameron, Glenn Young, Troy Tolbert, Leroy Ledford, Hal Perry, Big Norm, Cable Car Dennis, Billy Mays, Portland Eddie, Pee Wee Ramos, A.Z. Turnbow, Billy Childs, and the list goes on and on. Through the years, the game of shuffleboard has given Bobby many thrills, such as playing Billy Mays for 26 hours straight, and best of all, winning. Bobby never kidded himself into thinking that he was the player that Billy was, but as he says, "I was for one day." Bobby's family is, and has been for many years, involved in shuffleboard. His dad, Curly, was the horse collar player. His mom did a lot of cooking for the players when they came to town. His sister Robbie plays the game like a real trooper. Son Warren and son-in-law Russ play. His wife Charlene and daughter Leslie also play, but they like it best in the rooting section. A serious heart problem has curtailed Bobby's active shuffleboard playing, but nothing has lessened his love for the game. His heart will always be with the game and with the many friends and associates that he has become so close to through all his years in shuffleboard. Bobby feels the big tournaments in Reno and Vegas have been a godsend to the game. It is his hope they will continue to unite the players in a great sport that deserves recognition. It was once said that for 10 years, Bobby was the glue that held the players together in California, and he loved every minute of it. Next, we have a few old friends that want to say some words to Bobby. The first one up is Troy Tolbert.
This is a great day here, Bobby. This is the first time I've ever said anything good about you.
Aim the mic at your mouth, Troy.
Yeah,
Aim the mic at your mouth.
okay, I met Bobby, I think it was 1967 or something like that. We came up here and played about 3 times, the third time up. Bobby was the only living human that ever threw me out of his joint. 10 minutes later, Bobby threw me back in. So, after that, we became friends. Bobby came down to Southern California one time. So while he was there, he watched the others play for about 6 hours, never got off the stool or never said nothing. So I thought about it, so I asked Bobby, I said, "Mr. Goldsmith, would you play with me?" He said, "Well, why not?" So we get up and play all night long, and we had a great time. The greatest part was we took their money away from them. That's the part that we really liked. Then that thing there, you know, on the paper said, "Oh, Bobby was a rodeo cowboy." Well, he probably was, but Bobby had an old slow horse. He couldn't rope, and so he never got the day money. But them old cowboys used to drink and gamble and play a little poker at night, so Bobby could win that night money. The day money he couldn't handle. Then Bobby had a good place down there at the hut. Then he moved out here. Then he went into chicken business, and he wasn't too successful fighting them chickens. But I told him one day, I said, Bobby, I think you ought to give that up. He said, why? I said, I think the only guy that really knows anything about them chickens is Colonel Sanders. So Bobby quit the chicken business. So he became a full-time saloon keeper and running a card room, which he was always a success at that. That they can't deny. Bobby always ran his place with honesty and integrity. Nobody ever got rousted around in here. Nobody ever got cheated. And that's one thing you can't say about a lot of these little card rooms all up and down the valley here. And that's not really all that Bobby was a success at. Bobby was great at shuffleboard, but the game of life was his biggest success. So today, Bobby, we salute you and wish you well on the rest of your days.
Next, we want to bring up A.Z. Turnbow.
Bobby Goldsmith. Bobby, a legend in your own time, and this is sure your day. Doggone, I remember when you told me about lining up the chickens on the fence to tell them what a great shuffleboard player he is. And if those chickens didn't believe it, you just told them, come on down to the hut and you'd show. But there was one game, it was 14-14. That's Curly's old favorite chicken. He's pretty hard to beat, wasn't he? Yeah, well, what I want to bring up in this thing is what Bobby Goldsmith brought to shuffleboard when shuffleboard needed a shot in the arm. We was down to rock bottom. There wasn't anything coming up from any place, and Bobby brought it up. The first thing that happened was the big tournament in Sacramento by Maddox. And then next year, Bobby put this tournament on here in Visalia to VFW Hall. I think you had 6 boards, is that correct? 5? Okay. And that was one of the biggest things that happened in California. And between that tournament in Sacramento and this tournament down here in Visalia, give shuffleboard a shot in the arm that we might not have been here today if not for that. And this is what I've appreciated most, is the promotion that you gave shuffleboard when in time of need. So, yes, I know you were born in Arkansas. You and Bill Clinton was born down there together, weren't you? Yeah, and I didn't think here, you guys used to know each other and you used to go trolling together. I understand that Bill Clinton is still trolling up at the White House. But Bobby got a knot tied in his trolling line by of a lady, Charlene, and Bobby don't do much trolling anymore. So Bill is still trolling, so I'm glad your friend is still doing fine. Now, I know that you sent out an invitation to all the LA players to come up here and you guaranteed them a $100 win if they could win. They had a tough time winning. They really had a tough time. But this helped shuffleboard was a place to gamble. And this is what we're all about. Maybe not today, but this is what we were all about in that era of time. You had to have a place to gamble. I wouldn't play a game of shuffleboard unless I could gamble at it. In that day and time, it's probably still true today. The shuffleboard needed that tournament at that time so badly. We was in dire need of that. And you came to the rescue when no one else did. You came to this rescue and gave us something. You gave us something to look forward to. You promoted the game, and that's what you're great for. So that's about it for me, Bobby. And I'll tell you what, I thank you and appreciate you.
Now we'd like to go ahead and open up the floor and have a couple of people that would like to come up and say a couple of kind words about Bobby Goldsmith. I think the first one up is going to be Glenn Davidson.
Well, they told me to come up and say some nice things about Bobby Goldsmith, and I said, well, I said, nice things. And I said, well, I always took Bobby to be pretty smart, and if you can't believe me, look who he married. You got to be smart, right? Yeah. Charlene has been behind Bobby as long as I can remember. I don't know where she was pushing him or holding him back. But they had great times together. I've always had good times in Visay. As a matter of fact, I think this is my second home here. We started playing here, and we come through here in, I think, '69, and Bobby was at the hut. We played a few games down there, and coming back, he said, you guys come back and you'll get some good action. So coming back, I was asleep in the back seat, and I woke up in Bakersfield. And Bob always thought I was scared, and I didn't come back to play. We ended up having a match here that I never seen an owner give a man a week to practice the boards, but he said he could take Hal Perry and beat anybody at that time. He thought it was true. And we had a match about $1,000. How many games did that go? About 14 games, wasn't it? Everybody in town. I never seen so many people to turn out for a match game in my life, and I traveled across country everywhere. I said, this guy knows how to operate. He can get a full house down there, and while he's losing, he's winning. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, but he got back his money when him and Billy, me and old Bob Miles, pretty heavy. But I think Bob deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and his work he's done. You can't believe the work that goes into one of these things. I know because I've tried it. Starting in 1964, he lasted through to 78 or 9, and he had from one tournament he had when he first started something no one's ever done before. He gets 6 boards at a Armory building or Fairgrounds building. Was that it? Armory. And he got it in July, the second week in July, out in the Armory, playing the shuffleboard for the first time ever. And he made it work, and from there on he came to out here, and he thanked the churches for running him out of town and got him out here where he could make some real money. Bobby was a good promoter, good player, and you would never leave this place without getting some action. And he was known all the way across the United States, where he knew it or not, but everyone knew Bobby Goldsmith. And I think that the good title that he should have right now is the Ambassador of California, and it's a Shovelboard Hall of Fame. Yeah. I'm going to turn it over. Let's hear it for Bobby and Charlene Goldsmith.
Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to come up and say a few kind words? Okay, Bobby's sister, Robbie Lynn, is going to come on up.
Well, she introduced me right, Bobby's sister. Everybody, what was it recently? My name was in one of the shuffleboard board talk or something, and they referred to me as Bobby's sister. My name is Robbie Gann, and I am Bobby's little sister, and I'm so proud of it. I just want to personally just congratulate you, Bobby. I don't think there's anybody any more deserving than you. You know, all my life, Bobby taught me being the little sister. He taught me how to swim, and I learned to swim as good as Bobby. He taught me how to drive the car, and I think I even drive better than Bobby. And he taught me how to play shuffleboard. But I'll be damned, I can't beat him. I never could learn to play shuffleboard as well as Bobby. But I always keep trying. I'd rather beat him as anybody. And he's the one person that I just can't beat. And you know, he's done me a lot of favors in my life. One of the biggest ones being that he married my best friend, Charlene. So that made that very, very nice. Bobby, I just want you to know that I'm so proud of you. And congratulations.
We have a special treat for everybody.
Bobby Goldsmith's nephew, Joe Scott, is going to get up and sing a song that he wrote especially for today.
Well, I know he's a good shuffleboard player because my mom's really good. I mean, look how well I ate over the years. She can't beat him, so he's got to be really good. I do have a cold. I'm going to try to get through this song. I wrote it for my uncle, and I hope you guys like it. Listen to my story and try to understand. It was the year of 1964, stood a curious young man who walked up to a shuffleboard. He did not hesitate. Magic flowed from his fingertips as he shot his first wave. And the rumors started flying of how this man can't lose, with a Stetson hat and khaki pants, and yes, those Red Wing shoes. And many men would travel, they'd come from near and far, just to get a shot at Mr. G, who ran that redneck bar. He can cross the left, he can cross the right, he can lag that hanging pole. You'll find your pockets empty as you're heading out that door. He can shoot the game of shuffleboard just like he's G.O.D. He's a legendary player and his name is Bobby G. And now the joint is jumping, and it's always gambling time. So bring your money, wipe, or pink slip, and Bobby G will blow your mind. He's like a champion boxer, and the shuffleboard's the ring. Turn out the lights, the party's over, soon you'll hear the fat lady sing. Well, he can stick 'em up, he can ride that rail, he can lag that hanging board. You'll find your pockets empty as you see that final score. Well, he can shoot the game of shuffleboard just like he's G.O.D. He's a legendary player and his name is Bobby G. Mr. G's house big players, Big Jim and Norman Wood. Steve Floyd and Marion Bailey would play Jesus if they could. And Larry Newell, he's a one-man show, he will leave you all amazed. To think a man can shoot like that who's been up for 5 straight days. Oh, but there's one who stands out, and that's my grandpa's son. And they all call him Mister after the match is done. And now he's 65 years young and still has quite a game, and a celebrated member of that Shuffleboard Hall of Fame. And he can shoot the combination, stick and roll into a four. You'll find your pockets empty, son, as you're headed out that door. But he can shoot the game of shuffleboard just like he's G.O.D. He's a legendary player, and his name is Bobby G. He's a legendary player, and his name is Bobby G. Goldsmith, that is.
Okay, gosh, after that, what a performance. Now we want to go ahead and introduce Jolene Lemke, who's going to go ahead and proudly induct Bobby Goldsmith to the Hall of Fame.
Well, I met Bobby in 1968. He had a tournament up here, and I'd never been to a tournament before, but I brought my little team from Fontana, and I tell you, I couldn't believe what he had put together. I thought it was a little rinky-dink bar game, and I saw that it could be a real sport with people like Bobby Goldsmith behind him. and we've got a lot of them today. It's going to be there someday, maybe not in my lifetime, but we'll get there. But Bobby and I had a little disagreement. And my team was disqualified. And I said, someday he'll get what he deserves. Well, 30 years later, he's getting what he deserves. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Bobby.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody that's here helping me celebrate one of the finest days of my life. I ranked right behind when I married the big girl here 39 years ago. My children and grandchildren was born. And a red-headed woman I knowed in St. Louis over 40 years ago. I didn't exactly know how I was going to think about this. My nephew upstaging my big day like he did. And everybody, you stole my speech. All the everything you guys said was what part of the things I was going to say. But I want to thank you all for being here and helping me celebrate today. I want to thank Steve and Patsy for the use of the hall. And the extra trouble I know that I've been to them here. But more than that, I want to thank them for making Mr. G a shuffleboard capital, California.
Yes.
Something that I started 35 years ago. I could appreciate it a little better if Steve wasn't so tough on me when I'm here to play. But I want to thank you for that. Carrying on that tradition and keeping it a shuffleboard place. And this proves it all with what you see here now. I want to thank the Shuffleboard Hall of Fame board for okaying me and making this possible. I want to thank Jolene for nominating me when I didn't even think she liked me. I was down at the Dixie Bell 2 years ago this 4th of July, and Jolene come up to me and she said, I'm going to nominate you for the Hall of Fame.
I told you I was sorry.
I was just flabbergasted. I was overwhelmed. I just thought, well, I thought, well, he can nominate me, but there's no way I can get in. But I told her, I said, I didn't even know that you liked me. But I come home and told my wife, I said, Jolene told me she was going to nominate me for the Hall of Fame. I said, I don't think I've got a chance, but I said, you know what they say, it's in the nomination anyway. But let me tell you, it's not just in the nomination. This is it. I mean, what I feel wasn't, I didn't feel it that day you told me you were going to nominate me. But this is great. And I did take and had a big long speech figured out for you. But everybody's kind of hit on it. But there is one thing I want to say. I want to tell my wife how I appreciate her. We've been married for 39 years. Never bitched at me and never griped at me about losing my money. And I've done it a lot of times. I come home broke a lot of times, and she never got on to me or said anything to me. I remember the first time I went broke, and I come in, and my dad was with me. And he said, now you're about to find out about your wife. He said, women don't care for you gambling, they just care for you losing. But that wasn't so with her. When I told her what a bad headache I had, she said, I'll fix you a good supper and you'll feel a lot better. So that's, she's always, I'm not going to say she stood behind me, she always stood beside me, always ready to do more in her part in anything I promoted. In fact, as I reflect on it, I'm not so sure that all of those ideals that I had was my ideals to start with. She just had a way of putting them through to me. this is truly a great day for me. I've been dreading it. I've been out there trying to make up my speech. It didn't make any difference because I forgot it all anyway. But again, I want to tell you all how I appreciate you. And what a great day it is. I really just can't say that enough. I was going to tell you about, I started in '64 and they've already told you that. I was going to tell you about promoting the state championship tournament in '68, they told you that. And so they really haven't left much to tell you. My shuffleboard highlight was when I played Billy Mays. I played him 26 hours straight. Billy was the world's champion and stood head and shoulders above anybody else, and he was in his heyday. I played him for 26 hours straight, come 11 games up on him. But that's not the highlight anymore. This is the highlight. I'll tell you something I never told anybody very much. When I played Billy, I told my bartender Billy was drinking slow gin. I told my bartender when I started playing him, I told him, I said, if I ever look over and see Billy's glass empty of gin, I'll fire you. Billy went through a half a dozen quart bottles of gin in those 26 hours. So it was me and slow gin. But there was more, always remember, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Billy come back in about 3 months and he said, well, I can tell this part of it too. He come through the door one afternoon, that door right in there, walked over there and paid $100 and he left town owing me. Said, now let's play some more shuffleboard. We played for 18 hours and he come 3 games up on me. I said, Billy, I gotta go feed the pigs. It was 7 the next morning. He said, I haven't got my money back yet. And I said, and you're never gonna get it back either. I said, this is all of it you're gonna get back. I said, I never once said that I was a better player than you. And I said, but I was for one day. Don't take that away from me. And Billy was a good sport. He said, okay. So I never shot him again. Every time I ever played him, I was his partner. And we played Glenn Davis and Bob Miles once after that. Glenn told the story about beating me out of 1,000. I wasn't going to tell that story. But he did. He come down, him and Glenn Rod Cameron come through. And we got a $1,000 matchup. Now you got to remember that was back when we was working for $1 an hour. We got a $1,000 matchup, and I was called Hal Perry, who lives up in the northern part of the state, who I thought was the finest player, with the exception of Billy. I always said if I had to shoot one game for my life, I wanted Hal for my partner. I'm glad that day we wasn't shooting for my life, we just for my $1,000. Because if we had been, I wouldn't be here today. I don't know what else to say. That's pretty well covered. I know the big thing you'd like to hear from me is as little as possible. So we'll leave it at that.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge, heading for the
Thank you all again.
Feeling nearly faded out.